Thank you, everyone. Your Excellency, the Honourable Linda Dessau, AC Governor of Victoria, Mr Howard, Mirvac General Manager of Residential in Victoria, Elisa Anderson, representatives from Freemasons Victoria and Mirvac, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Freemasons Victoria and our partner in the redevelopment of this historic site, Mirvac, I welcome you to this special acknowledgement on the eve of the 50th anniversary of the laying of the foundation stone of the Dallas Brooks Centre, which, as you can see over my left shoulder, at this stage has all but disappeared. The decision on redevelopment of this site was difficult, possibly because of the emotional tie that Freemasons had towards the building, or perhaps that it was just part of their early years. In reality, it took more than 20 years to finally realise that the building no longer served the purpose for which it was built. However, given the historic significance of this building to Freemasons fraternity and the wider community, we felt it was important to officially recognise and commemorate the moment of the 50th anniversary of the laying of the foundation stone on the 18th of March 1967, which was followed 2 years later by the official opening by the Premier Sir Henry Bolte on Monday the 17th of March 1969. In attendance at that open were His Excellency Sir Rowan Delacombe, Most Worshipful Brother Roger Darville, CBE Grand Master, and 2,300 Freemasons from lodges across Victoria. Today we mark two important moments in the history of Freemasonry in Victoria. We acknowledge the leadership of past Freemasons who had the courage and vision to build the Masonic Centre of Victoria, later to be renamed Dallas Brooks Hall. And today we mark the start of the journey to revitalise the site with a new Masonic Centre as part of our new development, the Eastbourne, created in partnership with Mirvac. We firmly believe as an organisation that more than ever we need community leadership and a place for good men to support each other, their families and the community. For good men to become better men, better partners, fathers and sons, as they cope with increasing pressure in today's changing society. The Eastbourne is a progressive architectural landmark and symbolises the future state for Freemasonry and its continued significant leadership and contribution to the community of Victoria. I now welcome to the lectern the Honourable Linda Dessau, AC Governor of Victoria.
Thank you. Well, I think an iPad's a great idea in this wind. It's just occurred to me. Mr. Don Reynolds, Grand Master Freemasons Victoria, Ms. Jane Sydenham Clark, Chief Executive Officer, and Ms. Elisa Anderson, General Manager of Residential Victoria Mirvac, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First, may I start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're gathering and pay my respects to their elders past and present, and to any elders who might be with us today. Well, it is absolutely our pleasure to be here today for me to unveil the original stone of the Dallas Brooks Hall. In fact, it really is the eve of the 50th anniversary of the laying of this stone by my predecessor, the Governor Major General Sir Reginald Alexander Dallas Brooks. And I'm probably the oldest one here, and I actually remember him very well as Governor of the state when I was a little girl. And I'm delighted to hear that Sir Rowan Delacombe then had a part to play, and it makes me very proud to be the third governor involved with this site. Dallas Brooks was very important because he served the people of Victoria as their governor from 1949 to 1963. our longest serving governor. And he was also Victoria Freemasons' longest serving Grand Master. And it's thus that this hall was named for him. I don't know if people realise the most significant thing, if I'm allowed to say that ever happened in this hall, was that the Brownlow Medal presentation actually occurred there very early on. I'm sure there are lots of other very significant things that have happened, but that, as a former AFL Commissioner, I'm sorry, that stood out to me as one of them. I really am delighted to acknowledge and remember the extraordinary contribution of Sir Dallas Brooks this morning. I have a strong sense of the history of this role and that each one of us is really only the temporary custodian of the role. What a wonderful backdrop. I'm sure to Mirvac that is music to your ears as I stand here. I doubt that Victoria will ever see as long a serving governor again, but Dallas Brooks's contribution, and I emphasise the contribution of Lady Brooks as well, and I emphasise that because I know how hard my husband works, and I know, looking at the history books, just how hard every governor's wife until now has worked in supporting the role. Their contribution across 14 years was transformative. It was post-war era. There were lots of challenges, there were lots of political challenges, and they navigated or helped to navigate our state through that period so very, very beautifully. The Freemasons too, of course, have a long and proud history of 127 years of charity and community work. I know my dad was a member of the Freemasons. Quite by chance we came across some papers last night and I saw that he was a member in 1941. So that gives me a sense of that history. I think the work that the Freemasons are doing with men is absolutely wonderful. And of course, although women are not admitted as members, it's terrific to see the first female CEO, and it goes to show that this organisation takes very seriously the modernisation that we all need to consider in the 21st century. And so, with an eye on the past, today we look to the future. So in a moment it's going to give me great pleasure to unveil the foundation stone of Dallas Brooks Hall, and with the final act of demolition that's going on as I speak, we mark the final chapter in the life of this building and the first chapter in the life of the building that will stand here next. So thank you for giving me the honour and the privilege of joining you here today. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. So on behalf of Mirvac and Freemasons Victoria, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Your Excellency, the Honourable Linda Dessau, Governor of Victoria, for your participation in this milestone event. It's wonderful to also be here today with our partners who have been an important part of the Eastbourne journey to date. We highly value and support your commitment to this extraordinary project. What we are building at the Eastbourne is a strong community through a partnership that delivers a bright future for an historically important organisation. It will become the brand new home to Freemasons Victoria as they enter a new chapter for the organisation, as well as a new home to a host of future residents. Anticipated to be complete in 2019, we are delighted to have commenced construction and to be laying the foundations for the Eastbourne together with Freemasons Victoria, reimagining urban life for East Melbourne. Your Excellency, thank you again for coming, and we look forward to keeping you informed of our progress.
Before we unveil this stone, I would just like to present to you, ma'am, these a token of our appreciation for what you do for this state, and of course to Mr. Howard as well, but certainly what you do for the state and the fact that you have been here today. So we do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.